Welcome everyone to the PYRESWAP show for Wisdom Wednesday, and I'm just so excited to have you guys here on New Year's Day, the newest of all days in the new year. Have you guys ever noticed that January happens every year? It's like they're not even trying to hide it anymore. Okay, thank you. All right, anyways, so I wanted to talk about this diagram, and this diagram, okay, let me get the glare off. Let me just verify it's also visible. Okay, mostly. So I don't know if the color scheme works too visibly, but the point that I'm getting at here is I wanted to talk about some of the lessons learned when it came to learning marketing in Web3, in the context of Web3. And up here is a pie chart that means the wrong way. Down here is a pie chart that means the right way. And in the wrong way, I think you think about the promo event as the thing being the marketing. And that has to do with the way a layman, meaning a user, experiences marketing. They just think about, oh, on this date, X thing is happening. Does that make sense? They don't think about, oh, that is like the cherry on top of a marketing strategy. They think of the event as the marketing, and then like you do the marketing around the event. Like it's like something that happens around it. No. Like the event, the right way to understand it is the event is a tiny fraction of the overall marketing strategy. And I do really like these contrasting pie chart diagrams. Do you guys like these? I've used it before for the idea between meme coins and PYRESWAP as well. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? And can you guys even see them? Are these even visible? Here's what I'll do. Lessons learned. Don't worry, in the future I'm gonna have all these diagrams done beforehand as the production level just gets better and better and better. And I think that's a little bit more visible now, yeah. Yeah, I agree. The contrast is not helping. Okay, well, I didn't have the... No big deal. Anyways, in the wrong way, the promo event is the bigger slice of the cheese, and the blue thing is the strategy. Does that make sense? The right way, you have a strategy, and then you make the promo event just the wedge. And I think that this is just a two pie chart contrast diagram that I've used in the past. I think people understand. And I want to describe here at the bottom what a promo event actually is. And a promo event is just implementing 3 attributes into something. Rotate the board like pitch, yaw, or roll. Yeah, like what? Yeah. Do you want me to do a cartwheel? Oh, okay. There you go. Okay. Yeah, okay, that's pretty good. Yeah, this one works. Okay, so yeah, do you, promo event is the green color, which you can kind of see. It's very lime-like. It's almost like a yellow on the screen here. The blue color is the marketing strategy, which I abbreviated, and I realized, it's okay. I'm doing my best over here, right? I'm doing my best. The right way is when you have an actual strategy, like, that supports a promo event, as opposed to the wrong way. And when we talk about a promo event, because I'm really addressing what Genesis, how we understood Genesis 6 years ago, Night City, how we understood a Genesis was very much the wrong way in the past. Whereas now, like what an event is, it's not so much what it actually is. It's about the idea of creating urgency, scarcity, and novelty, and having the people that are receiving your messaging associate urgency, scarcity, and novelty with what you're doing. So, as you guys are aware, we're preparing to go hard market PYRESWAP. But what we're really marketing is learnpyreswap.com, because one of the differences in the way we approach this now is we have to actually market our concepts before we market our project. And that is something that you really only have to deal with if you're doing something new. Does that make sense? Meme coins, they don't have to market their concepts, do they? Have you guys ever heard of a meme coin marketing their concept? No, right? The answer is no. So we have to market our concepts ahead of time. So we're actually marketing not PYRESWAP, but we're marketing learnpyreswap.com. Does that make sense? And believe it or not, when it comes to building urgency, scarcity, and novelty, you can just market the launch of this website. Does that make sense to you guys? Because if I told you, Alessio, that guess what? There is a brand new training platform that gives Web3 users who desperately need real investment vehicles that operate on real economic principles, that can give you the confidence and education and data you need to make strong decisions. And you can find it all at learnpyreswap.com. It's a brand new platform that helps people understand fundamental analysis in crypto, right? That alone, as it were, that alone is what you market. Does that make sense? And then as they're on learnpyreswap.com, they're effectively getting a secondary marketing of the PyreSwap project. Do you guys understand? So it's like, first things first, you market this, right? You market learnpyreswap.com, and then learnpyreswap.com automatically markets PyreSwap. Making sense, everybody? Making sense? After learnpyreswap.com is launched, by the way, I don't know if I'll be able to do this type of conceptual PyreSwap shows. I think it'll be a lot more storytelling. I think by the end of fucking January, I might have like 40 short stories written. And Alessio, don't worry. All of these short stories will probably have a concept behind them. In fact, I have one of those today. I want to tell you guys a story about two adventurers who went exploring in some caves. And in these caves, on the map, there was a room called the Powder Room. And the reason it was called the Powder Room is because all of the rocks were extremely white and the ceiling was extremely tall. And there was lime all over the floor. And they went down there because they heard that there was a dragon that had a treasure in the Powder Room. So as they explored this cave, they were carrying a torch. They had a rope around their waist to find the entrance. And as they were crawling through the dark, through bat feces, and through dampness, and through other weird fungi, and other types of creepy stuff, they eventually ended up in the Powder Room. And when they crawled in, they couldn't figure out why there's a source of light inside the room. As they crawled towards it, they immediately fell out of a chasm. The rope around their waist snapped, and they fell to the bottom of the Powder Room. Now, what caused the light was a fucking fairy. Literally, a fairy was locked up inside this glass chamber in the top corner of the Powder Room. Okay? There's a fucking fairy, and she was like, holy shit, how the fuck did you guys get here? That's literally what she said, okay? I don't have a name for the fairy, but if you can just imagine, just imagine if there was a woman trapped in this glass chamber, and it's from her body that it's emanating light, okay? And she's stuck in this glass chamber, and she's like, you need to get the fuck out of here. There's a dragon that literally lives here, and if he comes back, he's gonna kill the shit out of you, okay? You guys following me so far? Is anybody lost in this story? Thanks, Alessio. Yeah, you might be the most analytical person on the whole internet. Yeah, but I do appreciate that you've embraced the role of knight. That's great. Anyways, they're like, "Can we save you?" And she's like, "No. Yeah, literally no. Like, there's no saving me." Okay. But the fairy said, if you look around you for a minute, you'll realize that there's actually treasure everywhere. There is treasure everywhere in the fucking Powder Room. All right? And as they look around, they realize that there's this chest of gold coins, like tucked in these little alcoves throughout the Powder Room. There's so much gold that it's just making the light coming off this fairy lady that much brighter. It's just blinding everywhere. And immediately, something happens. You guys, you might not have known this, but these two adventurers, one of them was an optimist and the other one was a pessimist. And the pessimist, he looked around the treasure and he said, there's no way I'm going to be able to fit all these gold coins into my pockets. and he broke down on the floor and started crying. And he wept and he wept and he sobbed and he threw a tantrum and he said, my pockets will never be big enough for these coins. There's nothing I can do to make my pockets bigger. What am I going to do? And the optimist, he just went over to the nearest treasure chest and filled his pockets with gold coins. Then the optimist went over to the fairy and said, how do I escape? And the fairy said, you just leave out the entrance, which is through, which he pointed out to him. As the optimist left with 2 pockets filled with gold coins, the pessimist continued to despair over the size of his pockets and how it was never going to be enough to hold all the gold in that room. As the pessimist despaired, the dragon came back and killed the shit out of him. Just fucking killed him. Okay? The optimist successfully left the cave, and he was able to use the gold in his pockets to buy 3 dozen sheep, which he became a shepherd for, and fucking retired. Okay? The point being here is that you can be an optimist or a pessimist in any fucking scenario, and being a pessimist will always paralyze you into inaction because you're going to spend way so much time analyzing things that you're going to always find something to not take action on. This has a lot to do with System 1 and System 2. The optimist did not ever realize the perfect return because the perfect return doesn't exist, but the optimist was able to get out of that fucking cave with his life and was even able to buy 3 dozen sheep with the fucking money he stole fair and square from this dragon. The dragon probably stole it too, so I would say it's like a lesser of 2 evils here, right? Anyways, the end. Did you guys like that story? Oh, yeah, the fairy never gets saved. She's just immortally the prisoner. Yeah, sorry. I don't know if anybody was emotionally attached to the fairy in the glass chamber or whatever, but yeah, she's just fucking, yeah. She's kind of like a Stockholm Syndrome type of fairy. You guys know what I'm talking about? You know, like she's been in there so long that, like, you know, she's not really sure whose team she's on. You know what I mean? Like, you know, she was probably watching the dragon kill the pessimist and was like kind of enjoying it because that little motherfucker probably just whined for like another hour after the optimist left. You guys get what I'm saying? Like, imagine being stuck in a glass fucking, you know, coffin or whatever, and there's just somebody crying, you know, 20 paces ahead, you know, I don't know, a stone's throw away from you about how his pockets aren't big enough. I would want to fucking see him get eaten by a dragon too, to be honest. Like, I'd be fucking losing my shit. Anyways, did you guys like that story? And I want you guys to know, Alessio, yeah. I need you to know that the story that I just dropped there is not nearly the standard. I am just trying to get into the practice of telling a story. And also I'm trying to, yeah. So I want you to know, I would not put that, what the fuck that was, on learnpyreswap.com. All right, even if CJ thinks it was a 10 out of 10, that's not going on learnpyreswap.com. I'm trying to become like a better storyteller in general, right? And a lot of that is actually really modifying my personality top to bottom. And but when I tell a story, it allows me to, one, I'm not just like rattling off numbers and stuff like that, right? Or I'm not just like speaking a mile a minute. I have to deliberately pause. I have to describe things. I have to do things like that. It really is, I think, a talent or a skill that's beyond me, which is why I've been working so hard on it, right? Just like a short person playing basketball, I gotta fucking, be in it if I'm gonna win at storytelling, right? I'm not the worst at it. I think I'm pretty good at telling stories that are personal about me, and half of the stories on learnpyreswap.com are not lore stories. But I want you guys to know that fantasy fiction in advertising actually is shown to have a better System 1 response than what they call functional advertising. So if you have any ad you've ever seen that's like fantasy fiction style, I'm trying to think of a good example. You know, arguably, like the Jolly Green Giant was a brand that was kind of fantasy fiction. You get what I'm saying? Yes, Alessio, yeah. And the version of that on learnpyrreswap.com is going to be one that's rehearsed, where like I scripted it. Origin story, as you guys have seen it, is no scripting at all. That is me just telling the story, you know, the way I remember it. And when I'm in my own storytelling mode, my mind thinks about, you know, my memories that I'm describing are also imprinted on myself through spikes of emotion, if that makes sense. So like that, when it comes to telling a real story about myself, I don't think I'm the worst. But the story that I just told, I had that as like 7 bullet points on my notes. So I think I did a pretty good job considering what I was working with. On learnpyrreswap.com, also, as well as all of the stories that I go on interviews to tell, they will literally be rehearsed to the point of being scripted. I have in the past, by the way, had 2-hour presentations memorized. So I can absolutely memorize an hour-long interview in advance. Does that make sense to you guys? Oh, by the way, I might even work out on these interviews that they know that I'm doing in advance. Like I'm gonna tell them what questions they're gonna ask because it helps them do less work. Make sense? Okay. Anyways, we now have done a bunch more websites on Clarity, Alessio. So we have all the TuneFork websites on Clarity, all how to tell when to sell on Clarity because we didn't know who's actually clicking Discord. SunnyRichCircus.org as well as Learn PyreSwap. And yes, okay, did you guys see the graffiti picture? Did you guys see it? Yep, that's real graffiti in the PyreSwap studio here, and we decided to really just christen the house with a true startup incubator feel. Just so you guys know we're as serious as Jeff Bezos was in 1994. Make sense? Or whatever year that was. Anyways, guys, bullish news. The SEC has written off $10 billion in fines. If I could get, Mr. Producer, if I could get a screen share. Do you guys love to see it? $10 billion in fines it can't collect. Guys, guess what? I want you to imagine, that these fines are your fines. I want you guys to really celebrate this, okay? I want you guys to understand that these are fines that they want to take from you and they can't collect them, okay? And by the way, it kind of makes sense. Internal data shows SEC enforcers bring in less money than their cases indicate. Crypto, by the way, is hard for them to do this to. Does that make sense? Because it becomes, you look at so many division problems. Do you guys get what I'm saying? It becomes hard to figure out what the fine is worth. Now, by the way, do you guys see this? Paul Bilzerian has been on the run from the SEC for so long that he now owes the agency $180 million with interest. Do you guys know who Paul Bilzerian is? Any guesses? I'll pull up his Wikipedia page. Have you guys ever heard of this guy? Anyways, he happens to be the father of Dan Bilzerian. Did you guys know? Dan Bilzerian is out there fighting the good fight for the SEC to I guess apparently not collect fines. Anyways, he would rather starve to death than earn $1 to feed myself and pay the government a penny of it. Bravo, sir. Truly a man of principle. Yet, this case is emblematic of the Commission's long-term struggle to enforce its own judgments, who go to great lengths to avoid paying them. And in other circumstances, the SEC publicizes penalties that it will never collect because defendants can receive waivers if they make payments in related criminal or overseas cases. Yep. Anyways, you can see these two. They have a data viz here. They have these penalties and the net write-offs. Yep. Over the last 10 years, SEC has written off almost $10 billion in penalties, which means that they write off about $1 billion a year. Yep. If we're going to advertise the numbers that we're imposing, we ought to be transparent with the fact that it does not mean that money is flowing to the government. So I want you guys to remember this article. Do you guys want to know when you should remember this article? When should this article be recalled by you? Do you have an idea? Happy New Year, by the way. Did I say that yet? Alessio, you're going to remember this article when you see the next crypto headline that FIDE gets fined $115 million by the SEC. Okay? This is the one I want you to remember. Because that's bullish. Bullish, by the way, bullish. Yeah, thank you, Avelito. Yeah. Anyways, but also in general, I'm joking, but I'm serious. In general, if you ever see, exactly, right? Yeah, why did he get fined? Oh, he invented a bank, right? But no. Even aside from PYRESWAP, if you see anybody get fined, if you see Murad Mammadov get fined, if you see Anthony Papliano or like anybody you want in crypto get fined, right? Yeah, I would say token definitely go up, right? But like anybody, train of thought lost. I mean, like anybody you know behind any project, whether it's like Charles Hoskinson or like Vitalik, does that make sense? Like any project at all getting fined, or even Trump getting fined, right? Like you guys understand that just because they're getting fined does not mean that they're that anything's actually happening. Does that make sense? They're imposing fines. Anyway, see. Then they show you here that, look at this, guys. These are the percentages per year they're collecting. Me too, Alessio. Me too. You ain't shit until the SEC finds you. Anyways, I remember Bobby Axelrod. Remember what he said. Anyways, do you guys see that? Yeah. So in 2021, they actually collected 60. They were about 65. Then they got to 70, and now they're here at 22. Like, I don't know. When did Gary Gensler take office? Hilarious. Look at that, you guys. He became the chair in 2021. Well, okay. This is Gensler's legacy, I guess. I don't know. Did he leave? Former investment banker. Okay, never mind. All right, anyways. But yeah, so the SEC took credit for a $4.4 billion judgment against Terraform Labs, a cryptocurrency issuer that won't pay anything to the government as long as it gives enough money back to harmed investors through its bankruptcy case. Okay. I mean, yeah, this is I don't know. I'm just bullish about this, guys. I don't know. I don't know why I'm just bullish about saying, hey, the new criminal charges against Bilzerian allege that Bilzerian uses hidden wealth to secretly control and fund Ignite International, a Canadian vaping company affiliated with his son, the social media celebrity Dan Bilzerian. Prosecutors say Paul Bilzerian's involvement with the company and his claim that he couldn't afford to pay the SEC constituted a conspiracy to avoid paying the agency by deceitful and dishonest means. Anyways. All right, well, there you go. Okay, then there's now a bunch of bad news because stuff's just, people just, I don't know. Everything else in the news today is kind of sad or bad or whatever. We can always look at Fear and Greed, roughly the same it was yesterday. Other than that, yeah. Let me see. Yeah. Do you guys have any questions? To be honest, I really don't feel like there's anything. You know what? Okay, let's talk about it. Do you guys want to hear more about like the storyboarding idea? How Python is looking? Good? Yeah. We continue to make progress towards actually building learnpyreswap.com. Yeah. I've already told you stuff like what? Like we have extra emails for podcasts we didn't know we had, right? Legitimately, we're gonna have Alessio, we're gonna have better data on how to tell when to sell very soon, right? Oh, by the way, Alessio, I looked at other Discord numbers, and we have like in October it was like maybe 120 people join, and then maybe in August it's like 180 people join. But to be honest, those numbers all make no sense compared to like the proportion of marketing happening. Because if I go back on Twitter, believe it or not, most of the Twitter spaces that we paid for to sponsor, the only one that I can see got like 500 views. So the ones that I was doing in May and June, they got like 130,000 views total, right? Like during the marketing month, we had like 130,000 Twitter listens, right? We only had 97 or 94, whatever that number was, right? So generally speaking, Alessio, as I continue to sift through the data, the good news is we're only going to make it so that we are more accurate, and that's why we're implementing Microsoft Clarity. But yeah, this does not change my outlook on the concept itself. This concept is literally proven to work on Homo sapiens across any industry on the internet. Just being clear. Do you guys have any questions about that? Oh, by the way, hang on. Okay. Anyways, the name for the tendency that I couldn't describe yesterday, which was like I was describing Travis Bickle in Taxi Driver, but it's not called that. It's called something super reaction tendency. But you know what? Never mind. I am not gonna just drop concepts. I need to just train myself to be in complete storyteller, entertainer mode every time I'm on camera. And arguably, the story today didn't last long enough. So I'm just going to get busy on building an inventory of stories that would make Aesop blush. Okay? Do you have any questions? I don't even know which emoji Leslie's using at this point. Like, are they sad? Are they happy? Are they up? Are they down? Anyways, yeah. Yeah, pain. Oh, okay, because you don't want stories. Yeah, you want concepts. Alessio, do me a favor and just clone yourself 1,000 times. Yeah. Like, unfortunately, here's the good news. The stories you've heard so far are like the bottom of the barrel. The stories are used to explain concepts. Yeah, the stories are used to explain concepts. By the way, Alessio, one of the reasons you might like listening to me explain concepts is because we already have like what's called initial rapport, right? So the fact of the matter is that there is a part of me that can still just be in complete concept mode. Making sense? But you can't just whip out your concept before you tell them a story about yourself. Does that make sense? You got to like let them know your backstory before you whip out your fat concept on the table. Does that make sense? Do you guys have any questions? Okay. I appreciate that. Yeah, before you try to shove your concept down their throat, you're going to need to talk to them first. Right? Tell them a little story about yourself. Okay. All right. I'm going to end the PYRESWAP show here. Okay, guys? Do you have any questions? Anything? Okay, fantastic. We will see you guys tomorrow for Thankful Thursday. I'm going to get back to work on writing stories, Alessio. My sincerest apologies. And yeah, bye-bye.